Hi guys, this is Reuben. It's been a really long time since the last update. I actually checked this about 1 month ago, and so much has happened in that time frame, and I'm really sorry that it took so long. It's just been a really hectic, and I just thought, this would be I guess a relatively longer update than others, and wanted to keep you updated on the really exciting things that are happening with Zcoin right now. Well, first of all, in just a few weeks back, I was actually invited to speak at give a keynote presentation at the Bangkok Blockchain World Conference, where I actually spoke about privacy on the blockchain. I talked about all the different privacy mechanisms, and the response was really amazing and positive, and it was really nice to meet you guys from all over the world. And from India, Chile, Indonesia, Thailand, and you even have some of you guys coming up to me and saying, "I watch all your videos." It's kind of creepy, but it's kind of cool at the same time, and it's really is a great validation of the work that we do, and we're really thankful for that. So for those of you that took the time to come and see us, or like to approach us and get to know us as people, we really appreciate it. We also made really good contacts, and yeah, let me just show you some of the photos of this. It was a really big conference, some big names, like Da Hongfei from Neo. And we actually have a little video here, not the most flattering, but I do think it's very educational. I will link this link in the information for those of you who do want to take a look and learn a bit more about privacy on the blockchain, and they will also distinguish from the scam privacy coins, many which have risen lately, which I wouldn't name. So, I mean, I don't usually talk about price, but during the last update, I think our Zcoin was about like $25 and like today it's $85, even with Bitcoin coming down so hard, and that's really amazing growth, and we don't know where it's gonna go, right? So invest responsibly. I've heard of some people actually investing all their savings on Zcoin. Please don't do that. This is a highly volatile market. Things may come and go. We believe in our project. We like to focus on the tech, but it's just a warning for you guys out there. And yes, you're probably waiting. Yes, Znodes. Znodes have gone live. We have about more than 1,000 Znodes live right now. It's actually less than what we anticipated. So I think that's a good and bad for that. The good thing is that the Znode payments will be a lot more than what we originally anticipated, and we probably think it'll catch up. Take a few weeks to catch up to what we anticipated, but the first month is going to be really good because we anticipated about 1,800 nodes up, but it looks like that's only 1,000 plus nodes, so the payouts will be almost double what we anticipated. So yeah, we are, I mean, the hard fork was completed at 66,550. We're actually at 66,650, so there's about 50 more blocks to go, and that's when payments start. Hopefully there's nothing that goes wrong. I mean, we'll probably know when I wake up, because it's really dependent on making sure the pools are updated correctly. We know Bittrex, Binance, Bitcoin Indonesia, TDAX, and a bunch of other major exchanges have already updated, but it's always good to keep your funds on your own Zcoin wallet. The latest version is 13.4.3, but if you're on 13.4.2, that's not a big problem. There's no big changes from 13.4.2 to 13.4.3, just minor GUI fixes and less aggressive logging, because the log file was clogging up a lot of stuff. So if you have a Znode on 13.4.2, we do recommend clearing your debug log, because it might be a really big file and you don't want your Znode to cram up when that log file gets consumes all your space, or you can just do it manually and truncate the log, or just upgrade to 13.4.3. Speaking about Znodes, I do want to go through the guide. There's quite a lot of confusion. I mean, we have video guides, we We have masternode Znode providers, and I thought we made a pretty comprehensive guide, but some people have managed to make really bad mistakes. And I think the worst ones are a couple of scams, which went really badly. So I just want to go just a quick run through the exercise. So step 1, encrypt your wallet. This is really basic settings. Encrypt your wallet, generate the Znode private key, and deposit your 1000 Zcoin. So you see that there's a Znode gen key. You'll be typing Znode gen key that generates the Znode private key. And that's well, the private key doesn't control your funds. It only starts and stops your masternode, so it's okay to give it to your Znode provider. All he can do is take it offline, so there's no big deal. And get account address ZN1 or whatever label that you want to give it a name is basically just generating a new receiving address in your wallet. You can do that manually through other methods, but we just think that since you're already on the command line at the debug console, it's easier to just do get account address ZN1. Make sure you copy that address correctly and paste it in properly, because we had somebody accuse us that their command line got hacked and they deposited in the wrong address, when actually the cut and paste just went wrong. They didn't copy the address that they got in get account address. So please, make sure, double check. It's really important. You're sending like $85,000 US. You better better make sure. Okay. And the other thing that some guys have got scammed was to send so what happened was a couple of people that were impersonating to be me actually approached people to say they will help out set up their Znodes, and it was very unfortunate. They copied my picture, they copied my profile, everything, and you look exactly the same, except that my nick was REUBSTIR instead of ER, and those, if you're not checking very carefully, it's easy to get fooled. So first of all, look, I'm already swamped with requests to help people set up their nodes and doing troubleshooting requests and stuff like that. I'm not going to offer my help willy-nilly. So if I'm offering you help without you asking, it's probably not me. Okay. So please, and even if it's a team member, even if you have to be really careful, because this is a lot of money. I have done many remote team viewer sessions for many of you guys, but there were 2 scams that I know of. There might be more. One of them was by this guy called Alexander Nor from Vienna. He's a young guy. He put like 90% of his savings into a Zcoin to get a Znode, and he was approached by someone on Discord, and what had happened was he got them to tricked Alexander to send the Zcoin to the address inside the VPS wallet. So remember, your VPS is where you host your Znode. So your Znode doesn't actually hold any funds. It's just a marker. It keeps the service up and running. And the Znode master key, or the private key, only, it's just a unique marker to show that Znode is yours. But it doesn't hold any funds. So if someone hacks into your Znode, there's no problem. They only can take it down, and that's it. But what this person did was he asked for access to the Znode, which is fine. Even the Znode provider has access to your Znode. But he asked, Alex or McVie to actually transfer the 1000 Zcoin into the address that is in the VPS. And what happened was, because he had already access to the wallet in the VPS, he transferred the money out. And next thing, Alexander just lost his 1000 Zcoin. It's covered in a blog. It's really horrible. We started a little donation for him. What's this? Oh God. Wow, he's okay. I mean, like, he lost. Oops. He lost like 43. I mean, he lost 1000 Zcoin, and the community has been really kind, and has given him like 43 Zcoin, and 43 Zcoin is quite a lot of money. I mean, it's not 1,000, but I think it goes to show that a lot of people care. But please don't count on these donations continuing. This is just purely from the goodness of the hearts of people, and we just wanted to highlight this case as an example, and this poor guy. And the other guy, there was a Crypto Daphne. She was on Telegram, and that was the impersonation where someone pretended to me and approached her, and she transferred her 1,000 Zcoin to him. So please, think before you're spending so much money. And she also lost all her savings on that. So yeah, that's the end of this sort of little no-brainer thing. And watch out, there's a lot of FUD out there. There's a lot of people who transferred their Zcoin to wrong addresses and stuff like that, and then they come back and try and blame us. Please, don't believe that shit. Just follow the guide. It's really clear. And if in doubt, there's many Znode providers. We've listed a few here: Hosting King, Masternode Hosting by Flair. So Flair is this guy from Dash. We're friends, and he's a really stand-up guy. So he's also hosting Mr. Monotone Znode service. He's a community elf in our Discord channel. Node VPS, PDA base, which is run by me and my partner. That runs. It's just a small little provider. Znode, I think, is one of the more popular ones out there right now. And Znode.io, which is run by one of our devs, Eisen, and his friend Next Gen Crypto. So we aren't endorsing any of these because we don't want to be biased, right? And even my own service, I wouldn't say, please go to my service. I haven't actually been heavily promoting it. But what I'm saying here is that there's not going to be an official Znode provider. Now, the good thing about Znode providers is that if you set it up correctly and they don't scam you and telling them to send the 1,000 Zcoin to them, all they need is actually the transaction ID of the 1,000 Zcoin deposit and the Znode Gen key. Some of them ask, some of them don't. You can give it to them. It's not a problem. They'll need it anyway. And that's it basically. So you just need the transaction ID of your 1,000 Zcoin deposit. They might ask for the index number and the Znode Gen key, and that's it. If they ask for anything more, if they ask you to transfer additionally 1,000 Zcoin to an address they control, or an address that's not on your local wallet, or they ask you to transfer to your VPS wallet, then no, we don't vet these guys. I mean, we have done like really minimal vetting. Can you host and stuff like that? And I believe that most of these guys on this, I think, or maybe all of these guys on this list are genuine people. But even then, don't trust them too much, right? The other thing is that some of you may have noticed that we aren't listing shared pool Znodes. Shared pool Znodes are where if you don't have 1,000 Zcoin and you want to pool your funds together to get 1,000 Zcoin. Now this is not wrong, but the problem is that you kind of have to trust one person to hold that 1,000, and that's a really, really big deal. That means it's most likely your pool provider, and if that person disappears, that's your money gone. And that's why I don't recommend this. If you want to do it, I don't blame you. It's understandable, but it is a big risk. So you have to think to yourself: is this risk worth taking to get those returns? Something to think about. Now, it's a problem that we are aware of, and Promin has been trying to find out a way to do it so that you can do it in a multi-sig address. So we'll see how that goes. I mean, no promises, but it is something that we are actively looking into. If we can set up a multi-sig address, that means that you guys can pool together, and that means people can't simply steal your funds. But it sounds really messy as well. So we'll see how that goes. All right. Okay. So what's next? You know, once Znode comes on, people start getting payments, and everyone, you know, gets rich, I suppose. What's next? So a lot of you guys have been asking you when MTP, and I have some good news, and this is the first time I'm showing it to the public. It's actually a draft paper, so please, you know, this is not actually the final one. So you can take a look. It's MTP 1.2. And I'm not going to show too much because I want to wait until this guy is officially published and release this. But remember, we had a bounty where we sort of incentivize people. So for those of you who don't know what MTP, please just watch the video on our website. And some of you may have, well, why is MTP not here? You guys have been talking about it for eons, right? And that's true. You know, we were working for many months of it, and it was supposed to release like middle of this year. And what happened was a paper, academic paper called Dinner and Nadler came up, and that showed certain vulnerabilities in MTP version 1, which made it less ASIC resistant than previously thought. And because of this, we had a lot of backlash from that, saying that it was vaporware and stuff like that. But the good thing is that luckily it wasn't deployed, because it was better that we hadn't deployed and delayed it rather than deploy and then get that vulnerability sort of exposed. So yeah, you know, it's pros and cons. But so from that bounty challenge, where we put up $10,000 and an additional $2,500, this guy called Mark Bavand, also known as Zoranak, who's a really world-class researcher, used to work for Google. He also came up with miners for Equihash, and another guy called Fabian Coelho, who's also done work on this type of proof of work algorithms, and they made really good submissions, and they actually found additional flaws, which really helped to make MTP a lot stronger than the first iteration. And you can see that luckily the good news is that the change isn't that serious in the sense that most of our code can be reused, so it's not going to be starting from scratch. We can use the existing code, but you know, we're not going to rush this. There's no immediate need. We are definitely working on it. It's definitely going to be launched in 2018, but we've learned from our mistakes. We're not going to rush this release, so I'm not going to give any dates right now, but we will show you updates when we can. And the other thing is that, you know, some of you, interesting thing that was Fabian Coelho actually also, from his research, built something called Itsuku. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it right. Itsuku, a new proof of work algorithm. Let's see if we can zoom this up so you guys can see. And so if you guys are following Bitcoin Talk, this guy called Hidetoshi, along with a bunch of other guys. So Coelho is a main researcher on this, and he also got a part of the bounty. He came up with a so-called improved version of MTP, and this was supposed to fix the original version of MTP and introduce certain new things. But it seems that this paper actually sort of shows some cheating strategies with Itsuku. So yeah, you know, we're probably going with MTP version 2 and not Itsuku. Probably wait a bit to make sure that this is MTP version 2 and there won't be another new version, and fingers crossed. But we'll probably start working on it quite soon. The other thing that we'll be working on is, yes, I've said this a few times, you know, we know our GUI sucks, and we're really working on this, because I think one of the most important things before we look at merchant adoption or user or marketing push and stuff like that, is that you have to have a good user experience. And right now, actually, we are in the final stages of testing our Zcoin revamp. We did one revamp already, which increased speed maybe 2 times. Or at least 1.5 times. You will notice that it's syncing a lot quicker. But this new one it's almost a complete recode of Zcoin itself. and it really makes Zerocoin a lot more secure, a lot more private, has a much more scalable as well, and it should work much more reliably. You know, right now, you know, there's still some issues, like if you've seen, we have a little warning there to make sure to back up your wallet. But this one, you know, it's something that it's really, we'll be really proud when we wrote it out. It's something in the back end, you know, most people wouldn't actually see it, but hopefully from a usability standpoint, when you see your Zerocoins moving really well and combine with the geo update, you see the value of our work. So we're also working on Ledger integration. We were in talks with Ledger, and it looks like their schedule is really tight. We wanted to release by the end of January, but it looks that may be delayed further, because just right now Ledger has no time. So even if they don't have time to integrate, but we are still actively pushing for it. So just please bear with us. Trezor integration, Technopreneur has done some stuff. He ran into some roadblocks. Once this Znode hard fork is over, we'll help deploy resources that help him out. Now, the other thing is that, you know, there's also talking about stealth addresses and payment codes. I know, like other coins, like, did you know, a lot of people don't know this, but Parman was the founder of Vertcoin, and Vertcoin's main call to fame is stealth addresses, and also this Lyra that sort of adjusted itself automatically, so ASIC resistance. Kind of similar principles, you know, privacy and decentralization. And very little has changed on Vertcoin since then, like, you know, in terms of technology. But look at it now, it's doing really well. And many of you have asked, well, if it's so easy to implement stealth addresses, why hasn't Zcoin implemented it? Good question. So there's actually several ways to implement stealth addresses. Stealth addresses is really cool, but the problem is that you can't have to rescan the entire blockchain for it. So it does have some scalability issues, and it does look different. It has some additional data in the opcode so that you know it's a stealth address payment, which also has privacy risks. Payment codes, on the other hand, which has a less sexy name, is actually we think it is an improvement. I think it's implemented in Samurai wallet on Bitcoin, and that actually improves on stealth addresses and makes the sending indistinguishable from each other, and there's no need to rescan the blockchain. And the important thing is that payment codes can still work on light wallets, while stealth addresses can't. So that's quite an important distinction. So just something for you to think about, and we are more leaning towards payment codes, so hopefully we can implement that soon. And for those of you who ask, like, well, you know, there's some coins claiming that stealth addresses provides privacy on the blockchain. Don't believe them. It's a good step, but just watch my video. I actually talk about stealth addresses and confidential transactions. Stealth addresses, all it does is that, you know how you always recommended to give a new, like a Bitcoin or Zcoin address every time you do a transaction, so that that particular address doesn't have your new transaction history. Yes, this basically just automates the process. You give out one address, and it will automatically create new addresses for you and redirect them to those new addresses. But it doesn't do anything new. So behavior-wise, remember your privacy is dependent and relating to how addresses relate to each other. So even though I can't tell from these addresses, but if I take a look at the relationship of these addresses, who you pay to, I can, even if you create a new Bitcoin address all the time, it's exactly the same as Bitcoin, right? It's not really an improvement. It is an improvement in privacy, but it doesn't really improve on Bitcoin. It just it's a convenience thing. It makes things better, and it's definitely something we want to implement. But just don't believe coins that just say, like, I have Tor, I have I2P, and I have stealth addresses and the best privacy coin. You know, don't buy into that stuff. I have very no one in cryptography or like has any knowledge about privacy coins would claim that, and any coin that claims that is being very dishonest. On top of that, we are hiring more developers. We just got in a new quality assurance person who's also a really experienced developer. His name is Miho. He's from, oh gosh, I forgot, Dubrovnik. Yes, and apparently that's where Game of Thrones films King's Landing. So yeah, and he's gonna be helping us to test and make sure that our releases are of good quality. We're getting more developers to maybe help us develop an MTP mining pool as well. So it's looking really positive. We've also had more support volunteers. Remember, all these support volunteers, they're not officially part of the team. I mean, I do trust them, but you know, if they ask you to do something funny like send money to them and stuff, you know, treat them with caution as well. I do think they're amazing people. They're Sebastian, David Ribeiro, Nicholas or Mr. Monotone, Nuwa, and AJ, and so some of these guys have been working with me on other projects before, and they've been really helpful, and we're looking for more and more people to help do support tasks so that I can do other stuff as well. So yes, Poramin also has been, you know, on terms of marketing and stuff. We've been working on getting Zcoin accepted at like merchants. We're in talks. I can't say too much on that. And you know, we're looking. Well, we're on the lookout for a new marketing company. We actually did hire one. It didn't really pan out that well. But we're still on the lookout. But right now, I think we need to get our core experience together before we start marketing push. Especially the light wallets is really important, and we need a wallet on iOS. Coinomi is great for Android, but you know, not having a wallet on iOS is a big hurdle to adoption, and we realize that. So I think that's it for this round of updates. I'll try to make more. Also, I don't know if any of you know, I'm actually a full-time lawyer, and I'm leaving my job at the end of the year. So I'll be full-time on Zcoin, and I'll hopefully have a lot more time to make these updates and do a lot more for Zcoin. And really thankful to the crypto space for making this possible, and Parmin and you know, everyone else in the team. And yes, really looking forward to next year. I do think that 2018 holds a lot for Zcoin. You know, we're finally getting stuff together, and we're finally getting recognition. We used to go to these conferences, and people like, Zcoin, are you guys Zcash? You know, are you Zcash fork? Yep, we get that all the time. But now it's different. Like, wow, you guys are Zcoin. It's so nice to meet you. And we think that we're onto something, and privacy coins are really going to take off. And thank you for choosing Zcoin and being a part of our community. And yep, have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.